Chapter 1, The Sensibilities of a Proper Maiden. Right then. A beautiful porcelain cup shattered against the table. A moment of allowing my mind to wander had led me to this mistake. Faster than the tea could start spilling along the table, I slammed my palm against the surface to prevent the tea from leaking into Francesca's lap. As a rich scent spread all over the place, I felt an excruciating heat rush from head to toe, my skin burning up in a blushing sweat. I'm truly sorry, my lady. Without even having a look, I knew the whole room had their eyes on me. I already knew the kind of disappointed gazes the other elites must have been giving me at that moment. But I only kept my focus on Francesca. Her eyes showed her surprise, but just as I was starting to fear this second might drag on for eternity, the softness I had grown to love showed itself on Francesca's features. Oh, don't worry about it, dear. Her eyes were lit with delight. She giggled through her words, as if she was endeared by my mistake. Sorry, I'll clean this up immediately. You need not move, my lady. My voice wavered as I kept my eyes on the table and away from the room full of staring eyes. I hastily took out a cloth to soak up the liquid and stop it from spreading, then plucked every piece of the shattered cup back onto the tray. Oh my, your maid seems to be bleeding. Everyone's eyes fell down to my hand. Woman's observation proved correct. Your maids in the room perked up. My blood was spreading and mixing in with the spilled tea. I felt even more embarrassed than before. It is no concern. She is not bothered by it. My heart skipped a beat. Only then did the initial shock wear off, and I recognized the burning heat of the tea along with the porcelain shards stuck in my palm. Right, Lillian? Of course, my lady. Just like that, the issue was resolved. My mind, did you set this up as an exhibition of your maid's quality? The other woman gently laughed as the intensity of the atmosphere dissipated. Please, I will never go out of my way to hurt my beloved family in such a manner. Ah, of course. Still, such a shame to spill your wonderful Rosa Ruby Veal blend. Nonsense. There's always going to be more of that with my precious garden, so luxurious. Francesca gently giggled back at the woman before effortlessly guiding the conversation back to their previous discussion before this whole incident. I couldn't stop blushing. I kept on trying to play it straight while ensuring I was picking up every last shard. Nada stepped in to finish cleaning off, prompting me to take a step back, just to be called by Malarka, who gently guided me out of the room. I'm gonna die. You aren't gonna die. I fucked up. Why did I have to mess up her precisely when she was exhibiting her tea to someone new? Calm down, it's fine. Now, show me your hand. Did you burn yourself? I took a better look at my palm. It was really hard to separate the pain of the burn from the shard. Probably not. Do you need to see Noelle for this? No, I'm not leaving. Hook the shard out and give me some gauze. Malcatras opened up the first aid kit and then quietly stared at me, waiting for my confirmation. Just do it. I don't want Lady Malcatras wait for us any longer. That's the best I can do. Just one piece that could easily be pulled out with just fingers, and that is just what Malcatras did. That twisted reaction to the pain was minor, all things considered. With my hand held out, Malcatras meticulously cleaned the wound before wrapping it in gauze. Entire time I felt ashamed of my mistake, and every part of this kindness felt undeserved. But obviously remaining in the room and standing there with a bleeding palm was the worst course of action. It wasn't the pain that bothered me. It was the fact that I had humiliated myself in front of my master, and through that humiliated my master. Francesca might have smiled and waved the whole incident off, but I knew I had more to worry about. My heart was pounding, my cheeks were burning up. I felt feverish just thinking about what would happen after the meeting was over. Look, you're about to faint. She's gonna tell me off afterwards. I know. You'd be nervous too. Well, yeah. We stared at the bandage being wrapped around my hand. The warmth of Malcatras' fingers provided some comfort against the stabbing sensation of pain. She focused her gaze on me. For a small pause, she spoke again. You're excited? What? Startled by the accusation, I pulled my hand out of Malcatras' grasp, bumping my hips against her to get in front of the first aid kit. Even from behind her mask, I saw her amused eyes. She only made me feel more flustered. Who knows racing through your mind? No, you don't. Shut up. Her hands were still trying to help, but I nervously pushed them away. Till I took the clips myself and finished fastening the bandage in place on my own. Malcatras looked so amused, but instead of pushing the issue, the fun drained out of her features as she was suddenly composed herself. We were meant to lollygag, even if something like this happened. After all, it clearly is not severe enough to call over a replacement maid. It was barely a minute before we were already returning back to the dining room. Once we returned to the dining room, Nadia had already cleaned up any proof of my mistake. Francesca was finally sipping her tea as she conversed with her guests. With hands behind our backs, we joined Nadia in sitting at the side of the room. I felt the constant throbbing in my head, my heart pounding far too harshly as the adrenaline had never left me. The pain in my palm was the only thing keeping me grounded. The conversation was incoherent to my ears. The only thing I could pick out were Francesca's words. The cakes were eaten and the tea was drunk. Door, please. All the guests left with Francesca, leaving us maids alone with each other to clean up the table. And when the door was shut, both of the women turned their attention to me while working to clear the dishes. Is she fine? She is. I gave a nervous look to Nadia, awkward that she would address Malcatras instead of me, but it was par for the course. I kept my head down. Regardless of the consensus, the two were quick to take responsibility and leave me with little to do. As if the shame of messing up wasn't enough, now I was being treated like a child. Left with nothing to do, the need to leave the scene kept on escalating. The fix for this embarrassment was to lay face first in my bed in anguish about my humiliation until I was needed again. The main door was swinging open startled me. I looked to see Francesca sitting at the entryway. Good job, my dears. Francesca entered smiling benevolently. That's one word I've never fully been able to pronounce, but we don't skip over that. Y'all see it. And yeah. A bit more pep in her step than usual. Oh, it's in hurt, aren't you, dear? Yes, seems to be so. She closed the distance and reached for my hand. She held it in her palm and took a glance at the bandaging. I'm pretty sorry for causing such a scene. No, sweetie. It's alright. I turned my hand around while taking it to it, talking to it, and sudden sound of a car's wheels creaking made my heart skip a beat. A swift glance over my shoulder, I saw Malcatras and Nadia about to leave the room. I realized I was about to be left alone with Francesca. My attention was drawn back to the sharp pain in my palm. I tensed up and saw Francesca firmly pressing down the wound through the cloth. Does it hurt? No, I mean, I'm entirely fine. Is that so? Seems like the injury alone is not punishment enough. Francesca made sure to keep her fingers down on the wound with a little swirl of her finger, fully aware that I was doing everything within my power to suppress the instinct to show pain. I am truly sorry, I will assure that. Francesca interjected and spoke over me. Nadia, will you be a darling and lock the door for me, please? Yes, my lady. And with the sound of locking, I understood there was no getting away from discipline. It was just as I had first thought. I had fucked up. Okay. We were always meant to look at Francesca directly when conversing with her. Many times left alone, especially under the threat of discipline, I couldn't draw my gaze off the floor. Thankfully, she never seemed to call me out for breaking that rule. How sweet, dear baby. Sweet Lillian. What am I going to do with you? I felt dizzy and disoriented as she spoke down to me, and sighed so much so that once she reached for my hand, I felt a hopeful moment of relief. But the sound of a chair creaking against the floor as she spun one around, stood down, ensured that I was back on track to panic. She obviously pulled me close as she sat down, tugging me over her knee and positioning me for a spanking. The fuck? Sorry, I am so sorry. I know you are, dear. As I have to keep disciplining you for your fascinating words, Slovenia's behavior. My house up and warm, just as laugh was, just provided a little comfort once I felt my dress lifted. Cool air washed over my exposed thighs as Francesca reached over my feet. Even with my face pointed towards the tilted tile floor, all I could do was cover my burning face with my palms. I felt my shoes remove and dropped to the floor with my socks soon to follow. So many times I questioned Francesca's methods. We used what's ruining my socks during spanking. In the end, I had learned that asking that of her just resulted in my discipline lasting longer. My feet equally bare when I kept my mouth shut about it. My instincts kept on telling me to squeeze my thighs together to try and cover up as possible. But with Francesca's hands moving to slide down my bloomers and panties, I was forced to spread my legs. Okay. It was enough for her to just leave my hands around my ankles. She had to expose my lower body entirely. Everything had to come off just to add to my humiliation. It's difficult to say still, but the more screaming I did, the worse the pain on my buttocks would become. Why was this even so bad? Why did this make my anxiety pile up each and every time? It's just a spanking. Shouldn't I be used to this by now? Just a spanking. I can endure it. Surely I had to endure it for my lady Malcatras. You break my heart, Lillian. Such a bad girl that I have to keep treating you like this. No matter how hard I try to remain steadfast, I feel my view go blurry. Like a dagger to the heart, anxiety burst within me. Just disapproval immediately broke down my barrier. Okay. Okay, Francesca pressed me down by the shoulders, her other hand swinging through the air to, yeah. Wild. That is insane. William Malcatras, how many times have I told you to focus during your assignments? Her palm kept on raining down. Slowly but surely, I was starting to feel a burning sensation. Okay. I personally handpicked you to be one of my special loyal servants, yet you fail to live up to the expectation the others can fulfill with ease. You know the importance of your role, don't you? Speak. Francesca commanded while officially aiming at my inner thigh to truly alert me. Francesca responded with more stern swing that hits me. Her sharp pain kept kept the mind spinning. No, I'm not disciplining you as Lady Malcatras. I'm disciplining you as your mother. Okay. That's right. And what is it that you know, Lillian? I know that I'm grateful that you provide your time and attention for me even when I am such a failure. With this last pause, I immediately began recalling what I had just said, panicking as I tried to discern if I had spoken out of line. It was so difficult to know what to say in these situations while all the alarms were going off in my head, and while I was at constant risk of not only pain but causing further disappointment. Oh well, poor Lillian. That's right, your dear mother is always taking such good care of you. That's why she has to thoroughly spank your bottom when you do not live up to her expectations. This pain was so unfair. I was certain no other adult was getting spanked in this house. So humiliating to know that and to try my best, but to still end up in the same situation over and over again. Tears had made my hands damp and my nose was running, resulting in constant sniffling, point that even Francesca could hear from my words. It is of utmost importance that you learn your lesson, Lillian. You are not to let your mind wander while you work. You know this. All I could do was agree, pleading for her to stop and understand that I would truly do my best in the future, but no matter what I said or did, her hand continued to fall. Why was my best not enough? If she had chided me, Francesca seemed to fall silent, no longer forcing me to struggle out responses through my tears. Just because that part was over didn't mean the spanking would end there. Just as spankies always felt like they lasted forever, the burning heat left her smacks kept on spreading all over the impact area as she meticulously ensured my butt was lit up evenly, and only then was she considered the session successful. Here's overwhelming mixed with humiliation and worked to clear out my negative thoughts. No souls until spanking finally ended, and when it finally did, then the stillness felt like relief unlike any other. When loud clapping of sound of my spanking no longer filling the room, the sound was the only broken by my erratic breath, even then that felt peaceful by comparison. His hand came to rest my sore bottom, and she gently let it slide across. Okay. Her finger gently worked on soothing the pain, dancing all over my reddened skin. I kept sniffling, trying to wipe the snot and tears on my sleeve instead of sullying the decorative floor. You'll do your best to be a good girl from now on for your dear Francesca, won't you, Lillian? Yes, mother. We were finally over and Francesca let go of the butt she had been holding for a while. She brushed my skirt back down and helped me turn around, revealing to me her calm, violet smile. She stared back at me with trust, convinced me that she truly believed when I said I would try my best, and then turned to maybe want to try even harder. Even though I had grown up and become an adult, Francesca never stopped wrapping up discipline sessions in the same way, by turning me over to sit on her lap and letting me lean against her chest. Her soft lips pressed down on my forehead. My embarrassment spiked once more. I felt the whole room sway with the intensity of my pounding heart. A kiss on the forehead made my mind dizzy, but she wanted me to drive in the matter that I needed disciplining like a child. She had never told me to sully her dress with tears, but I tried to avoid it. Well, not sully. I instinct to grab onto her and press my face against her always won. Once I could no longer endure her blankly staring at my sobbing expression. It puzzled me how she managed to remain so composed even at a time like this, when there was a total mess in front of her. I didn't want to be pathetic like this. I wanted to be a strong warrior for her. I wanted to perfectly serve her and protect her from the world. Yet, over and over again I will fail and end up sobbing against her. But still, she held me back with motherly love. Each time, I cling onto her and close my eyes. Oh, this thing is waking me out. Good evening, Sister Lillian. So the voice that came through gold startled me, and I felt my heart leap as I snapped to stand up straight while rustling the nearby leaves. It was a good practice to leave our guard down like this. Shanna had this disinterested look on her face. Good evening. This one's for you. I held the shears in my hands while squinting at the familiar looking envelope. What is this? Sister Nada already brought me to my schedule. Yes, this is the update for said schedule. So the hair is cancelled. Oh, I see. Caroline finally sent in the letter. And the first just makes more hassle for Lady Malcatras. It's okay. Lady Malcatras will look forward to that meeting regardless. For how fit it is, my irritation cleared. No, okay. Last time that woman came over, Lady Malcatras described it as dull, so I'm not surprised how things turned out. Now I remember the visitor's face. Shannon would point after my response, as if remembering that trying to make small talk with me was entirely unnecessary. Her eyes fell to the shears by hand. I stared back at her, unsure if she would intend to leave or not. My head is ill today. Could you lend me a hand? Lend you a hand? I glanced back towards the roses I was surrounded by. But there, according to Francesca, it wasn't like this was exactly a task to pack priority time-wise. I simply liked doing this since it had kept me from having too much free time to think. It's just my way of proving my dedication to help everywhere I could, be servant status or not. However, perhaps this was motivated as some sort of atonement after I failed these roses during the tea ceremony. Yes. I tilted my head. I mean, you're right here, so I am. It seemed like she had gone out of her way to bring me this letter, perhaps gone out of her way to get me the help. I wasn't quite sure what to say, but I had nothing against helping her. I took my gardening equipment back to the shed before I prepared myself to follow Shanna around like a little duckling. Okay. Take long until we were both in the staff room. Shanna pointed at the huge case that had been left on the table. Take this case with you. Oh, okay. It was an awkward size, not exactly all that heavy, but big enough that it was more comfortable to carry with two hands. For a moment, I expected something more to happen, yet Shanna just unlocked the cabinet and picked out new sets of keys from inside. It was already on her way out. My hands occupied, I scurried after her as she closed the door behind me. What are even these? Some Sir Naruto prepared for this meeting. We may have to do that tomorrow instead. This one will be, well, not being used until then. So I'm taking the liberty of sorting it out the day before. We have to prepare the tea service tomorrow, regardless. Shannon was a rather kind of sensuous person, but it wasn't above her to take reasonable shortcuts. Despite her seriousness, she was rather laid back when neither Francesca or Nada were around. Okay, she unlocked the door to allow me to enter the room. The inside felt a bit bare bones. It's like the whole room's purpose was to be a blank canvas to set up for particular needs or whatever the meeting might be, to suit the taste of whoever might be visiting. It had been a while since the room had been last used. Recently, Francesca has been uninterested in having business-related visits, and just seemed to want to mingle with the aristocrat ladies in her personal chamber. Let me place them on the table for now. Gave a little nod and did as instructed. When I turned back to Shanna, I saw her glancing around the room before walking over to unlock a second door. I started with the curtains. You start by adding one more chair. There will be 4 people present. Big one for Sir Tharulo. Okay. Shanna had no qualms about ordering people around. Even though we shared the same rank, she talked to me like she did to the other maids. I didn't really mind it. If anything, interacting with her was easy as a result. In a way I had come to like it, that Shanna did not express any opinions about my performance, unlike Nada and Mikara. No expectations meant less things fulfilled. Through the main meeting room, we could reach a small storage room. like a closet for unneeded furniture to reduce clutter. I stepped out of her way, and when she left the closet with curtains in one hand and a foldable stepladder under her other arm, kept my eyes down as I picked up a seat. It's big enough that maybe this would be better for 2 people to handle. Our training left us more physically capable than the average person. So I balanced it against my body and carried it alone to the main room. Shannon had already placed down the ladder and was slamming on it. My eyes focused on her for just a few steps. It was enough for me to know something was off. I went to the table, accidentally kicking it with the leg of the chair and causing it to rock off balance. I actually tried to counteract the sudden movement by snapping the whole of the side of the table while maintaining my grip on the chair. But inevitably, the chair slipped out of my hand, slamming its weight down on the floor, like contents of the table slid off the surface. Okay. So I watched Doritos' case drop with its lid bouncing open and the contents spilling out in all directions. I felt like my heart was about to stop. Thankfully, it was only full of documents, nothing actually fragile. Immediately raised my gaze to the chair on the ladder, seeing her staring at me with an unamused look on her face before she returned back to placing the curtains. Sorry, it's gonna make it more work for you. Just clean it up. You've ended up making more work for yourself. You're the one who will clean this up. Right. Glad I broke the case. So, it's a standard one. You just replace it. My heart pounding, my face burning as I tried to gather my composure. Even if Shannon had stopped looking at me, I still felt my painful shame surging through me. I knelt down and started to pick up the documents while I took them to not damage them further. So my fingers against the surface of the floor to make sure I hadn't dented it from the impact. Did the same with the chair and the desk. Fortunately, the furniture was entirely unharmed. It was still enough to make me apologize in shame. I'm so sorry, I'm always such a mess. I got disciplined today. I just... Whatever. Nobody else saw. She interrupted me, apparently not having been distracted from her task even with my stumbling. Secured the ladder back to the storage room while I finished picking up the scattered documents in such a rush. I even had the mind to stop and pay attention to what the contents of the paper were. Once I put everything back inside the case, I was in the process of closing it up once more. I noticed it had never been locked in the first place. She looked ready to leave. I think we're done here for now. I just want to get this out of the way since it was a quick thing to do. Okay. Wait, was that really all you needed me to do? I just didn't feel like having to deal with keys while carrying that case. She don't feel nothing unusual had happened. I didn't know if it was disinterest or mercy. She didn't point the spotlight on my mistake. But like tending to the garden was that higher priority of task. But I couldn't really understand why she hadn't even bothered to ask for my help. Such a weird girl at times. Not like I had room to speak. Put the kiss on the table and leave me, sister. I gave a timid nod. After my mishap, I was doing an even worse job at maintaining eye contact than usual. We stepped out after she relocked everything once more. Face was still burning, my eyes were still glued to the ground. All I wanted was to go straight to my room and suffocate myself in my pillow. We go back to wherever you were working on. I go to the control room and double check to make sure the security camera feed will be fine for tomorrow. And glance up at her to catch an unexpected amused look on her face. Don't worry, I won't look. I won't forward the recording of you messing up to Sister Nada. Before I even had time to even properly respond, she tried giving me a little wave and left. Felt guilty having let my guard down like that. The way she gave me orders, knowing I would listen without question. I felt as though she didn't trust me to decide things for myself. The worst part was she was probably correct in doing so. I felt so immature. At times like these, I didn't feel like I belonged in this place. Trying to think about it, I quietly escaped the scene, hoping to not run into anyone on my way to my bed. I stayed to hide for a while. Okay. Did you read the report? Are you sure? Of course I did. Making sure. Doctor gave me an uncertain look, really concerned if I had all together the punishment I received the day before. Normally, we would have met in the staff's lounge room much earlier when we were about to be accepting guests, but I avoided Malarka and the rest by remaining in my room until now. I feel like my senses were heightened after I messed up twice yesterday. I already felt guilty that I had skipped on the consequences for the other one due to Shanna's lax attitude. So making the mistake now was not acceptable by any means. Their level was notably high. Yeah. We'll kill them if they try shit. I told you I already read it. You can't just kill them. Why? The report said they were mafia thugs. They said use lethal force if necessary. Is that not the same thing? The door opened and the overseer walked in. Malaka reacted as if we had been caught doing something improper, and now reacted accordingly. Sisters, focus. You both know what to do if conflict arises. Keep your eyes peeled. Yes, Sister Nada. She has me as well, not expecting responses by me breaking protocol. Even my focus purely on the mission. It came from a sense of overwhelmment. I felt desperate to prove myself to Francesca. It was that I wanted to harm into the premises, but a part of me was hoping that the threat level we were of the concern, that I would be granted a reason to show my abilities and dispatch the living trash worth disposing of. I feel like I already fucked up eventually when it came to regular tasks, yet when it came to combat, I was in my element. My heart was pounding. Okay. I stood behind the gate by Nada's and Marco's sides and slowly opened, revealing a trio of men in business suits stepping out of a black car. As polite as their smiles might have been, when I saw them, I understood the risk specification of the task. All the sixth sense, the killer knows the killer. My gut instinct went crazy. I tried to not project my own malice into the nonchalant behavior of those goons. Not that being a killer was by default a source of concern. Where we lived in was rough, and a lot of people had to resort to extreme means to protect what they had. Just as we do. Our role is to observe and steer these guests. Knowing that they show any sign of hostility toward Francesca, my task changed to dispatching them. And how relaxed they presented themselves, their gat had a sense of professionalism to them. Anyone capable of entering the estate was at risk and a risk worth taking seriously. Personal safety and the safety of all of our siblings was the utmost priority. The gates pressed shut behind them, and they would put my personal motivations aside. I pray I wouldn't have to walk them out of the mansion ever again. Wheelman, Sarah will see you shortly. Nana curtsied with a stoic smile. My living doll? Two of the men casually reacted to the unusual appearance of the maid. Rumors were true then. One of the men stepped forward to assume the position of the leader, raised his hands to silence the two. Ah, how delightful. We thank you for your gracious hospitality. I was with the zone after the hospitalities, instead fully focusing on their behavior, including the fact that the moment we entered the mansion, the trio's curious gazes seemed more like they were already mapping out the interior of the building. Nada was the one in charge of giving instructions. Larka was ready to respond to anyone who tried to talk to me, allowed me to remain silent and quietly assisting the three men with their coats and belongings as we entered the meeting room. Fortunately for me, it was no secret that I lacked social skills. The three men sat down as I kept my eyes on them. In the middle of their chit-chat, I noticed their silent gestures. I never really relaxed when they were in their seats. I must have been aware of the consequences of failure in this mission, or mansion. And now the job was simple. I had to play my role as a maid, so I saw her as concrete proof of something incriminating. Gentlemen, it's a great pleasure meeting you all in person. Sir Thurilo walked in wearing a suit adorned with some light jewelry. The third maid escorted a tray with wheels into the room, which Malarka accepted. She brought it toward me and we both started to meticulously prepare tea for the guests. I placed 4 porcelain cups down, one for each of the men and one for Sir Thurilo while he exchanged pleasantries with the guests. Thurilo wasn't a part of the family, yet he was in charge of business dealings on behalf of the household. He was loyal to a fault, though to me it seemed like he was more in it for the money instead of acting out of true dedication towards Francesca. I wouldn't exactly have taken the bullet for him, but he was a decent man. While working on the tea, I still had to remind myself that it was so plausible these men were truly here just to do business. But I could not shake the nagging thought that it would have been uncommon for someone to send such seemingly high-trained men on a task like that. It was suspicious, but not like anyone would bother trying to scam Francesca and Malcatras, right? Leader group spoke with Arudo while the other two seemed to be there as assistants, readying materials for him, preparing the laptop, and passing papers across the table. As I was filling everyone's cup one by one, a sudden sense of dread engulfed me as I was about to pour a teapot into the final cup. Their presence entering my personal space sent my instincts straight into overdrive. The first desire was to remove the hand approaching me. I had to make a conscious choice to freeze in place and hold firmly onto the teapot to avoid spilling anything as the man smacked my already stored. Pass through my skirt. Okay. If it weren't for the painful spanking I received the day prior, I might have been able to endure this humiliation without an external reaction. None of the thorough though, both immediately interjected in unison. Do not touch the maids. What? The cocksure man withdrew his hand, not showing any guilt for his action. Struggled to lift his gaze from my wobbling behind, before he smiled casually towards me, as if I was in position to provide some consent. I thought we'd get a maid each. The guy sincerely questioned to show his plea lack of manners. Contextualized on the glance from before into a more lecturous light. Disgusting. I bit my tongue and try and visibly tone down at least some of my aggression, glaring daggers at him and trying my best to get the point stuck in his imbecile's brain. This is no low-rate establishment. Do not, under any circumstance, touch the maids. Time for my mouth to try to do my best to deny his expectations. My heart was pounding. I felt blood rushing through my head, as I felt like I was about to see red. Aw, really? Fine, fine. And the boss of the trio joined in to laugh it off while peering at my rosy cheeks. Soon I was flustered, but in truth, it was my blood boiling while I fantasized about murdering every single one of them for that. Not only was this incredibly disrespectful towards me, it was incredibly disrespectful towards Francesca through misconduct in her domain. I hated being touched by strangers, and that was a fucking normal opinion to have. Dorito cleared his throat. He allowed us to get back on track. Thankfully, the attention of the room focused on the suitcase, which he opened with a click. Only Makara was still staring at me, staring clearly in her gaze. She no doubt knew I had a lot of opinions about this little mishap. And she was right. I was trying to find a cup for the man who had just groped me, while wishing that it could be within my power to instead fill his cup with the vilest piss. Okay. Work made the product to finishing the tea, leaving just Malarka, now that myself in the room with the men. Luckily, the situation had entirely calmed down. Us actually on standby, we stood waiting for the next moment our assistance was needed, while forced to listen to a bunch of dudes chat idly along about their business. September is approaching rapidly, and we just really wanted you to follow up on the promise for the auction. I've already tried talking to her multiple times regarding this, but Lady Malcatras doesn't wish to depart from Elena's crime mirror anymore. What was the point of offering it up in the first place? We have already been promoting it, and our people are eager to bid. Well, as you already know, she was interested to keep a hold of it at a time of that promise. So, the fact that we won't have it is a problem. It's the underground auction. Political promises have consequences in the underworld. The Malcatras is not a part of the community. Yet, here you are doing business with us on behalf of her. I know. I have prepared an appropriate alternative for you. Here we have connections to access Elena's Melody Stone instead for you. Melody Stone? Keep talking. Strict orders were drilled to us during our training long before we even graduated from the Maiden's Ward. The outside world was crass, but we were meant to be different. A living embodiment of the ultimate maid, Sister Nada, working right by our side, training us. She served the perfect example of what kind of woman we were meant to strive toward being. She appeared as a living doll, though she was undoubtedly a human like me at some point. Calm and professional, loyal and powerful, These were virtues that were valued even outside of our work, even rewarded when we displayed these qualities in our free time. Kids who were exemplary at this were the ones who graduated to a higher house. All the best maids shared the same attitude and learned to suppress their less than favorable qualities. So why was I here? What was I doing in the main house of all places with the rest of the pros? Why was it different for me? What more do you wish for me to say? I'm offering something more valuable than the mirror on behalf of my failure to uphold the pre-existing deal. No. We just needed further proof that you truly had access to such an item. We truly do wish to acquire it. This is even from the same origin. Changing a listing is going to be a lot easier for us. I was supposed to listen, I was supposed to keep track of the conversation in case they revealed something, but no matter how my best efforts, my mind was running in laps. Just because previous discipline left me hyper aware of my own circumstances. I felt so confused by my place here when I had to resort to the pity of my peers to not tell them my mistakes. It is not like reporting each time I knocked on the door was mandatory, but as the overseer, Nanda should be informed on everything that goes on in this estate. Yet apparently everyone here just seemed to agree that I was guaranteed to get discipline regardless if they passed on every detail or not. I already had enough going on, and these mafia jerks come in and hit me while I'm already down. The nation of a stranger smacked my butt when it was already such a target. It seemed like twisting a knife in my wound. I was still furious. I could not focus. My mind was still stuck on that heavy sensation of a foreign hand touching my backside. I had perverted men like this, molesting a woman just because one was there. When we had long passed, I still felt the malice from the degenerate jester, waiting down on my body as if his filth had stuck to me. Wait, I glanced at the trio to ensure none of them were paying attention to me, before I could barely reach down to my butt where the man had just smacked. My fingers hit against something small and solid. Something had been stuck to my ass. This was no coincidence. I too fully understood what it must be. Tracking the vice. Really? These men were this bold. I gently rolled the item between my fingers. I tried to think back to what other outlying places the men have touched before. Something was off. Even with the item in my hand, its presence somehow felt weak, as if it was fading in and out of physical assistance between my fingers. Again, I understood. It was being affected by a sort of shrouding ability. My hand still remaining behind my back. Instead of holding it between two of my fingers, I let the item roll in my palm. Then I took the touch and they were both hands, at once to confirm my suspicions of it being under the effects of an ability. The less I seemed to make contact with it, the harder it was to notice. The bold plan suddenly made more sense. The whole auction business was just a distraction as they intended to plant these around the manor for some purpose. Their combination was only for 2 days, one effort could reasonably scatter these all over the place in that time. My personal distaste towards anyone posing even a marginal risk toward Francesca, I had to now circumspect the unknown ability of the enemy. These were normal people after all. Put something like this off in some other location might work with ease. Clearly they had in the past given their confidence. Looking for them, our training here was not for mere ordinary maids. With all three of us maids standing behind and see the men, feels like we were in our own little bubble. I held the tracking device between my fingers. The unexpected motion had them both turned to look at it. I took the opportunity to look as well, confirming what it was with my eyes for the first time since I had discovered it. There was not a single explanation that could explain this item in a way that wouldn't permit us to subdue the three men under suspicion of high treachery. No expression showed her acknowledging the situation. Marker's face, on the other hand, was overcome with an intense flash of shock. Rudo was the next one to know something was going on. Rudo, could you please leave the room for a moment? Something has come up. His eyes remain, but the orders from the specialist maids ranked everyone except Lady Malcatras, and so he tentatively stepped away, though his eyes were still glued to the business dealings about to be resolved. What was this? Quickly getting impatient, and the two goons stood up. You're not trying to double cross us, are you? I pointed my finger at the man who had groped me, my other hand clearly holding the device between my fingers. This one. Bug. With the color drained from their faces, Yeah. Get the plans off. Let's kill the girls and escape. Drill immediately sprint out of the room. The moment the door slammed shut, the gun in front of me had enough of my full gaze and pounced towards me. He rigorously produced a metal spike from somewhere and practically launched off the chair, aiming for my throat. Really? Pepper tried to murder the very same maid they just tried to grope. I let a sharp exhale. Adrenaline was surging through my veins. The approach to the blade felt so slow and predictable. My hands preparing to parry as I felt an overwhelming glee, sent a rush of pure satisfaction bursting through me. I had a reason to break his pervert's wrists. However, sadly I was forced to change plans as I saw Nella's ability activate. So I hustled a farm. The man's hand, once flesh and blood, on the blade was instantly replaced with a synthetic doll hand. The blade twisting off its trajectory to instead practically hand me over the weapon by the handle. I snapped the blade in the other hand, stepping out the way and allowing the man's own momentum to bring him back to the ground with a slam. Instead of directly sprinting for the door, he was struck by horror upon seeing his hand transform into that of a doll. Only his eyes could twitch as he overcome with panic, as he had already been afflicted with by such an efficient ability. What in the world? The two men had already withdrawn their guns from the inner crevices of their suits, aiming at Nanda, and then looking entirely stunned as they saw the woman with her arm extended, with the man's hand twitching uncontrollably where Nanda's hand should have been. The actual, yep. No hand for you. Well, Nanda's remained still. The man in his panic kept on trying to move with his arm while staring at his new doll limb. His hand had changed location entirely, and so did his motions. Nanda made no attempt to respond to the panic questions, nor did she try to react to the guns aimed at her. They would remain in place and calmly explain to the alarmed men. We already committed 4 breaches of conduct and are under investigation for terrorism charges. Designing weapons, so we will resort to violence. Two men investigate each other to turn their eyes back to Nada and attempted to pull their triggers. The way they both were aligned, I could see a clear trajectory in which one attack I could hit them both. So the sound of gunshot damage came from me. Dual attraction repel. That ability was simple. All to do is pick a target with each hand and decided to attract or repel. The device I picked up became the first target for my aura with one hand. I placed my other hand against my chest to set myself as the second target, and the bug gathered a massive explosive propulsion as it was repelled directly at their hands, pulling the guns with a speed like a gunshot of my own. The little metal item turned into a makeshift bullet as it burst through their palm, severing some fingers. With a single attack, I could feel 4 hands at once. The guns were hitting the floor along with splatters of blood. Insane. Instead, the two were neutralized and left screaming in excruciating pain. The man on the floor turned to see carnage behind him and froze in terror. Really? You sure of the evidence? My eyes glanced over, barely able to make out the shards of the metal that had launched at an overwhelming speed. Tried like a bullet on impact, impossible to distinguish from the messy remains of my attack. Oh. Nana just gave me this point of look before she walked over to the boss, felt grabbing him by the collar and tried to ask more questions. Can you provide some light on your plans for this illegal intrusion? But instead of reply, the man was just trying to interrogate, was acting like he was about to lose his life. These men weren't the type to offer mercy for others when tables were turned. We'll pay you money. More. All we have. Two men with their grotesquely splayed hands were crying out desperately, tears dripping down their trembling chins. A third among them was utterly paralyzed by the combination of the loss of control of his hand and realization that whatever they had planned had badly failed. I see it was chaotic, so much screaming, my head was killing me. I was getting blown up. The hands of the two idiots were still left staring at the guy who groped me, and I realized I would have preferred to break his wrist instead. Nada was still trying to interrogate the boss, but he just continued to plead as if the two weren't even having the same conversation. This crying was so loud. Why did I not aim for their heads? Kind of like these, my training kicks in. I do the right thing. Many of the forces preferred, though I should not have destroyed the evidence, but it was just what I had at hand. I'm sure they have more trackers. I probably had to turn to the third guy on the floor. Do you? Yeah, they do. Remove your friend's hands, even if you're the one most deserving of it for being a molester. Please focus on the assignment, Sister Lillian. Give us all the information you have, unless you should be disposed of, sir. Nada called out the man in front of me, obviously having trouble with her interview, given the state of the boss's injuries. All they could do was resign. He might have been a pro, but yet they had been utterly bested. Yeah, I have more stash in my computer and my hand. Please. Okay. I'll undo. Now I reward the courage by undoing her creepy ability. Return the hands to their original owners. Maybe they lay down on the floor. Stretched and embraced his returned hand with a terrified sigh as he didn't have it in him to care about his two friends who had entirely passed out. Conflict had been resolved as fast as it started. And only now I had realized how much of a lacking presence Malcatras had this entire time. I looked at her and saw her unusually startled by the blood. Normally she had no qualm but seeing such, yet this time she looked pale. I will find the rest of what happened. So she suddenly sprung into motion to open the door, though she stopped after the sound of a confused Naruto could be heard from outside. She made a single glance into the room, and disgust spread on Naruto's face rather promptly. The lavish and clean room had turned to a bloody mess in an instant. He seemed especially bothered by the blood over the money. Fitting. Malcatras ushered him to follow her and left with him. I want to rip this guy's hands off too. Man sat up slightly, beckoned a bit toward the corner. Not doing anything more unnecessary than you already had, Lillian. I won't. I said I wanted to. These two are about to bleed out. You shouldn't have made such a mess. They're about to shoot you. Barely an issue. Even then, could they aim for just the guns? Could they aim for their heads? Lillian. Sorry, sister. Don't show off. I'm sorry, sister. Apologize at the bragging is the least apologetic way you could have done that. Sorry, sister. I still think their hands got what they deserve. Nada shook her head. Even if annoyed, she was still able to remain so calm despite all that just happened. You wish me to inform Lady Malcatras that you need additional discipline, even after what already transpired today. No, sister. Yeah, a clump stuck in my throat. I barely managed to speak out. We should figure these devices and wallets. The same thing, I started to help Nada with the cleanup. Glanced over to the man lying in the pool of blood still oozing from his ruined hands. I wanted to kill this guy so badly, but now I saw that man. This man at risk of bleeding out. It wasn't really exciting anymore. I knew I did the right thing aiming for their hands, but I really wanted to have just slaughtered three immediately. Supposed to be a thrilling job. I wanted people to really know what terror feels like once they find out the true meaning behind Malcatras specialist maids. That and maybe the perfect execution of people trying to foul play in her domain would earn me compliments from our lady. Just thought maybe excited. Stop with the cute show, Sister Lillian. Yeah? I turned to look at her, realizing I had spaced out again. The knife still gripped in my hand, so I had knowingly been smiling. Tears rushed down my spine in embarrassment at how obvious I had been. Basically on the counter, I tried to start the process of cleaning up this mess. Focus on your assignment. Sorry, sister. Please try to keep that uncouth behavior of yours subtle. Sorry, sister. Once Nada stopped trying to train me and gave up. That was rare. Maybe she was just happy there was no severe injuries to the staff. Oh, Lady Malcatras is in the room. Okay. Hey, sweeties. Just to announce her presence in the most casual manner possible, And they paid attention to the fact that there was blood all over the room as she greeted us with a smile. The Malcatras. I immediately sprung up to resume my stance, not doing the same, even if in a far more sophisticated way. Well, what was it that transpired here? Tristan held her hands on her hips, turning her full attention to Nada, suspecting her to talk. You were correct. These people attempted to bug our mansion, even going as far as attempting to place one on Sister Lillian during our meeting. Securing the container full of multiple of these items, they most likely plan to scatter around the state during their stay. Concerning of all, there seemed to be a stuff ability cast on each one, causing them to paradoxically hard to locate despite no one there right there. I believe this would be overwhelmingly difficult to find if they had been managed to place them all over. Just a curiosity has been won over as she walked over to the counter, squinting at the box for a while before picking up one of the tracking devices, repeating the same test I had done with it behind my back. Pretty concerning ability, like the space itself was attempting to erase its presence. Alright, these seem like an awfully bothersome ability. She said bored quickly and dropped it back into the box with the rest. Took the higher and the aura exorcist again. His eyes immediately went over to the two men with the fucked up hands. Are they alive? Yes, only Malcatras for now. I see. Sure, they can be interrogated later. Did you find anything else? Nothing notable. Good. Michelle's gaze met mine, and though she spoke no words, I felt a tremble in my legs. Yes, my lady? She stood facing me for a brief few seconds, only exhaling deeply. She's supposed to give me a quick caress on the cheek. You did well, Lillian. Yes. Lily Malcatras, thank you. My heart was beating violently at the moment I received any praise from her. It's obvious I was the one who had caused all the gore. Francesca did in fact consider it worthy of a compliment. She's not even bothered to question if this level of violence had been necessary. She brushed her fingers off my cheek as she turned toward the door. You too, Nada. Chesol's compliment the head maid with what seemed more like an offhand remark before disappearing out the room. Nada still curtsied a little out of appreciation. She was trying to catch Francesca leaving, that her maid showed up, appearing almost startled by the fact that their boss was the first one to meet them at the scene. Said overly familiar way she spoke to us, Francesca's entire demeanor changed to a far more reserved one as she calmly explained. Experience terror sensitive, bring stretchers and tourniquets for the injured, and she will be able to talk tomorrow. Every single one of you is to inspect the box of odd devices and keep your eyes peeled for similar devices anywhere, and everyone told otherwise. Anyone where they find an unaccountable for tracker, or find an unaccounted for tracker, they will be rewarded. But they disappear out the room after directing the newcomers. Okay. Seemed like a good time as any to say because we were playing for almost, well, yeah, it's about an hour. First we'll check that main menu, but here are the credits. So I'm curious about that. There's a lot more to it. Okay. Yeah, we hit that main menu though. So this is Malcatras Maiden. You're not a bad girl. You're just a stupid girl who doesn't know what's good for you. There's also a music room, if y'all are curious about that. So music wasn't even all the way at full volume. Surprising, not surprising. But yeah, so we played for about an hour. This is a couple hours long, I think. I'm guessing, I think it's like 20k words, so I'm guessing like 3 hours tops to finish it, depending on your reading speed. But yeah, pretty wild. Hopefully y'all enjoyed so far. If not, and you got this far, I mean, it is what it is. But I like it. It's different. I've not quite really played a game like this before. So yeah, if y'all are curious about this game, y'all want to try for yourselves, of course everything will be in the description below for y'all to check it out. If not, it's totally fine. But yeah. So with that being said, I'm gonna end it here. So hopefully y'all had a good day, good yesterday, and better tomorrow, and I will catch y'all in the next video.